last week, a lot of the conversation was about Luka, AR, and LeBron. Those trio playing together. It's funny when they're playing the Knicks and they're about to beat the Knicks. ABC, ESPN puts up the stat and it says 9-2 when it's Luka and AR. And immediately when I saw that stat, I'm like, all right, that's everybody's going to be running with that for a while. We kind of leave it alone, and it is what it is. But what I'm curious from you is when that trio is at their best, and when the Lakers are at their best, what are those players individually? And I ask that question because I think we're starting to see a little bit from AR that the better AR is, it feels like the better the Lakers are. So when those three are together in a game or they're just together in a lineup, what's the best version of all these players when they are together?
Yeah, I mean, Austin has been tremendous. Four straight games over 25 points, the last three over 30. This is the best basketball he's played since that stretch he had at the very beginning of the season, where he had the game winner against Minnesota and the 50-point game against Sacramento, et cetera. He is back to that level after the calf injury. Not only took him out of the lineup, but took him some time once he was back in the lineup to find his rhythm, find his confidence, and have trust in his body. He's back. That's tremendous for this team's potential. Luka, I would say, is also playing the best basketball of his season since the first week of the year. And obviously, he put up numbers throughout the year. I'm not trying to fight that, but there has been a difference in everything, in my opinion, for Luka in this stretch where they won 8 out of 9. This is the best. This is, you watch what he's done the last stretch here, winning 8 out of 9. That's why he's got on your MVP ballot. The other 50 games or so, he put up numbers and there were moments, but it wasn't this. And that's also tremendous. Now, just like we're talking about DeAndre Ayton needed to accept his role here, LeBron finds himself in an awkward position for a top 5 player of all time, if not top 2 or top 3, to have to fit in a role he's never played before. He's capable of it, though. And that's what I give credit. JJ Redick, I think some of the romances of the honeymoon period with him being the Lakers coach has worn off, and some fans are looking to poke holes in his resume as a coach or trying to find his warts. JJ Redick is someone who knows this roster well in terms of the personnel and the people. I think he's managed their legacies, their egos, whatever you want to call it, pretty well. And I think he's done what he needed to do to keep LeBron connected to this process, where he still feels valued and respected, as he should, very much so, but also feels the necessity and the understanding of why he's being asked to play a different way. And why these guys can work is because LeBron at his best is not in the half court. It's in transition. And so if this team does what it's supposed to do defensively, or at least lives up to its potential defensively, they're going to get more steals, they're going to get more deflections. And that's LeBron's ball. Like, it's a throw ahead. It's him running the 2-on-1 fast break, the 3-on-2 fast break. He is still one of the most devastating players in the league today. That part of his game has not suffered atrophy. He's still playing above the rim. He's still finishing with both hands. He's still spraying out the shooters in those situations. And so that's his show. And then when you get to the half court, it's more of the Luka and Austin, but LeBron is a tremendous screening player. And then he can get to the short roll off after a screen. And then what a great playmaker to have him there where the defense is collapsing. And, LeBron, I think this is probably crazy to say, but I still believe LeBron is underrated as a passer. He's able to make any single pass anywhere around him, 360 on the court when that happens. And so if you do that, and LeBron sees when he does this, it leads to baskets. It leads to those guys continuing to play with force. and those guys continuing to take the reins, not LeBron hand them the reins, them take the reins, I think it can work. If those guys don't seem up to the task physically or mentally, well, LeBron will say, "Hey, let's go back to my way,"
Mm,
and that's where I think there's been tension, but it's not tension out of any personal animus towards either of
sure,
those
sure.
guys. It's just tension towards LeBron still truly believing in himself and in his skill set, and obviously having the body of evidence that he's done this for so long that, well, we can do it this way. Don't forget about that. Um, ultimately, ultimately, as JJ keeps saying, like LeBron cares about winning. Ultimately, I think he knows in his basketball brain that if they play this way, they have a better chance to win.
That's a great way to put it. All right, when you're doing a daily sports podcast, NBA podcast, we're watching some of the cream of the crop when it comes to athletes, people that take care of their body, people that take care of their nutrition. I want to introduce you guys to a company that is partnering with me on this channel. I'm very excited to tell a little bit about their story. I want to introduce ISSA as a sponsor of this video. ISSA. What is ISSA? It's the International Sports Science Association, and it's the leader in online fitness certification, empowering individuals to become certified personal trainers and health professionals through flexible science-based education. Here's the great thing about it. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. You don't need a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree. You just need a certification to qualify for these jobs. You can become a certified fitness trainer in as little as 90 days. If fitness is important to you, nutrition is important to you, if you can help educate others and help others to become healthier in their life, this is the perfect position for you. Want to give you guys just a quick idea. I'm going to put on here the link of how to take care or how to take advantage of a special offer. If you go to joinissa.com/Sliwa, which is also linked in the description, you can use the code Sliwa to get $100 off your CPT certification. You want to make a change long enough, it's time to do something about it, and you can help others in the process. Again, I'm going to give that link one more time, and hopefully, obviously, this is something that people out there that are looking for a little bit of a push, hopefully this can help you. The link again is joinissa.com/Sliwa. Because by the way, listening to you say LeBron will have a role as well, I can only imagine LeBron in his head, who his entire life, at the worst, he's been the best player on his team, but really what he's been is the best player in the world for X amount of years, to now taking a little bit more of a backseat. And I don't know how much it helped. He's sitting on the sidelines for a few games, seeing what AR was doing with Luka. Some of the stats when AR scores 20 plus points a game are just ridiculous. And I think, LeBron could still be probably the best version of himself when he does fall back into that third best player role. Again, it just is more from a perspective of, if the goal is to win, then how do we put the puzzle pieces together that gets them to a W? And I agree. I think it's got to be, at least it's got to look somewhat like that, and we'll see the rest of the way.
Also, like, he was by far the best Lakers player in the playoffs last year. By far. It was a huge gap between him and those two guys. He's going to be allowed to pour himself that same way into the playoffs when they get there. It's not necessarily about touches. It's just about his voice, his game plan, the way he sees all of that is going to be so valued, because it's not a flip a switch. There's just the governor is off, because he knows he doesn't have to have any sort of reserve tank when he gets to that point. And that is going to be, I think, a cool moment if they can continue this momentum.
Sure.
And Luka doesn't get food poisoning, and Austin's not dealing with the leg thing or whatever. If they have the things going in the right direction, at that point, I think if you're Luka and Austin, you kind of reappreciate LeBron, right? You appreciate him now for fitting in, I guess, in a way that'll keep this momentum going, so that they can stay out of the play-in tournament and they can get a first round home court advantage in the playoffs. And then you appreciate him then because you're like, oh yeah, like you're going to give us that, like, please, we're happy to, kind of be the ones following you sometimes, just the same way you've been following us.
And playoffs will be a different season, just from it will, I think, give the Lakers a little bit of an advantage from the rest perspective. Obviously, for LeBron, it changes everything. You don't got to worry about second to back-to-backs. You get to stay in one city for X amount of days. Dave, final one I got for you, brother, and I appreciate you joining the show. I want to frame this right here because I don't want to just say, well, what's the Lakers' ceiling this year? But I think maybe the question I'll ask is, they've obviously at least changed part of their narrative over the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so. They're playing good basketball right now, finally beating some quality opponents. But when you look at the West, it's still going to be incredibly difficult. And if you have a first round matchup against Minnesota or Houston or Denver, obviously it's going to be an accomplishment just to get out of the first round. What are kind of your expectations, or what are you hoping to see the rest of the way? And if you did have to put a ceiling on the Lakers, what do you think that ceiling is?
Yeah, I mean, obviously matchup dependent, and we'll see how the playoff bracket bears out. We'll see if they can stay again in the top four, because I think that will be important. While it didn't make a difference last year, they lost game one of the first round. I think it is important to have home court.
Sure.
I think, like, if you remove all emotion and actually you remove the ebbs and flows of this season, the Lakers probably built a second round roster. That's kind of what I think, realistically, what this team is. When you get to the second round, things break the right way. An opponent's not fully
Sure.
at full strength, or it just happens to be a team that you have their number. 4 wins in 2 weeks and you're in the conference finals. And so I think that's on the table. Now, I understand the Lakers 17 banners. Lakers fans are accustomed to expecting tremendous success, and I understand that. But if they lose in the second round, now obviously we'll have to see what would happen in the second round. But it's not necessarily like a failure of a season. I think it's kind of where they were reaching their potential, especially with the circumstances of a roster that is unconventional. I don't think it's a flawed roster necessarily, as much as some paint it that way, because I don't think it's oil and water combo between LeBron and Luka. I think it is a 27-year-old and a 41-year-old, though. And so you recognize that there is some temporary feeling to this situation just because of the circumstances of their career. So, long-winded way to say, second round, I think, should be what we accept as, like, the bar that they should reach. Beyond that, to me, would be gravy. And hey, I mean, Laker fans are impatient. 2023 seems like a long time ago. Conference finals, like, even a conference finals run, I think would be pretty fun for the city of Los Angeles. And I think it would allow this group to feel like they did something with this year and built along the way. And that, to me, is like, I know championships are the best, right? I'm wearing my Syracuse 2003. I think about all the time, right? But there's also seasons where you follow along with a team and you see their growth and you see the ways that they've come together. That can be satisfying for everybody involved as well. And so we'll see how this next 15 games go.
And I think, but that's a proper way to set it up, because I'm with you, and you deal with, obviously, interact with a lot of Laker fans and everything else. 17 NBA championships has nothing to do with this season, right? 17 NBA championships doesn't mean, you're guaranteed to get to the NBA finals. That history doesn't really matter. You might have those expectations. That might be the history of the Lakers, but I think there's also just what's reality. And reality for the Lakers is, I agree with you. If you get to the second round, it's kind of like, all right, that's probably the furthest that they can go. Anything can happen. Maybe somebody isn't healthy. But the bigger question is going to be, if the second round was the cap, then what does the summer look like? What does new ownership do in the summer? What's the front office? How much more can they add to the front office? The scouting. There's so many other angles that the Lakers can get better. But this season will probably have its ceiling, and we'll see how far it goes.
The nice part about this, and I'm sure gonna come on your show to talk about that. There are many questions for the off season, but
Yeah.
the nice part about where we're at in this kind of the meaty part of the schedule, we're post trade deadline.
Yep.
So really, the only thing we have to worry about with the Lakers right now, tangibly, is the next 15 games plus the playoffs. So it's really just about basketball, which is cool. You know,
Sure,
and anyone who watched that Denver game the other night, you'll know that like that's the beauty of this whole thing is to see a team or both teams, quite frankly, put it on the line like that. Try to match strategy, try to match effort, the incredible talent on both sides. Like that's what I'm looking forward to see more of that down the stretch here. And again, the Lakers could have lost the other night, and you would have said, why did it happen? They blow a 17-point lead. You could say that. You could say, oh, Aaron Gordon made like every shot, because there's really good teams out there. I would like for this group, for them to be able to continue to kind of maximize what they have over this stretch. And if you maximize it and you lose in the second round, I don't think you have to hang your head.